Hi everyone. I'm very happy to be here. When I came back to Algarve, I thought, fuck, I'm never going into another conference again. So this is very awesome. I'm going to talk about the challenges of working remotely, because I think that enough has been said about how cool remote work is, but not enough about what challenges will you face when you do this type of work. So, come on, okay. So first of all, I'd like to recap types of work. So, who can tell me what a co-located job is? Co-located company. Anyone? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, I work here in
Visual Pharma. That's a great example of a co-located company. Everybody works in the same office, right? Even if Visual Pharma would exist in Lisbon, in yet another office, it would still be...
We have an office in here, and we have an office in
Brazil.
another office in Colombia.
Yeah, cool. It's still a co-located company, right? Because although you may need to contact your guys in Brazil, but it's still a co-located company. That's not remote work, okay? So, and there are there could be, for instance, I don't know if that's the case with you, but some co-located companies allow people to work 1 day from home or 2 days from home a week, and that's still not remote work. So then we have remote companies. Remote companies are companies that allow for the whole team, or at least someone from the team, to be fully remote, work from home or from wherever they want. So we have also two types here, maybe fully located or fully remote, or half the team remote, which it's really my case nowadays. And by the way, it's actually I think the most difficult case of all. And finally, we have distributed teams. So in a distributed team is basically a remote team, but they may work, or they should work, across different time zones. And usually, when a company is distributed, they probably don't even have an office. Okay, I don't know if you guys know companies like Buffer. They don't even have an office. They work, I mean, some guys work in Bali, some guys work in New York, and whatever, okay? They just have to synchronize. So cool. We got that out of the way, and come on. Who works remotely here? Okay, a few guys. Cool, that's very good. More than I thought. Awesome. And who would like to try working remotely? Okay, cool. That's good. Yeah, so come on. I have this friend. That he wanted to work remotely, and he came to me and, yeah, I want to work remotely. I'm not sure if this is for me. What should I do? And yeah, I think you guys are ready to meet my friend. And yeah, we're pals, basically. So Keanu is a software developer. But he's tired of commuting to work every day. I mean, how many of you loses at least half an hour commuting to work every day? I mean, it's crazy, right? And he's tired of going into the office, and he just wants to work from home in order to spend more time with his dog. Funny story, I was actually watching John Wick when I was writing this presentation, and yeah, I'm going to use John Wick for my character, but there aren't enough GIFs, so I just broaden it up a bit, and okay, let's just use Keanu. So Keanu starts looking for a remote job, and this gets us to challenge number one, which is finding an actual remote job. But nowadays, this isn't actually a challenge. It's actually quite easy to do this. When I started, and I haven't started that many years ago. When I started, it was a bit harder, mostly because I didn't know anybody working remotely, and I had to go through all that pain basically alone. But nowadays, you go online, you have these awesome websites like Remote.io, Remotive.io, even Stack Overflow has a great board of remote jobs. And I mean, if you're into freelance and stuff, I mean, I'm sure there are other websites, but these websites here usually feature job offers from companies like GitHub, GitLab, Auth0, Buffer, HashiCorp, Ghost, and even Basecamp. These guys actually wrote the book on working remotely. If you haven't read it, buy it and read it. And in this link here, you have a spreadsheet of over 600 companies working remotely, including all these ones here. And most of these companies are even distributed companies, which is really cool to work with people from other time zones. So there's really no excuse to anyone to not find a remote job and not start working remotely right away, okay? So, yeah, okay, I thought I removed this. So I think that to work remotely, you need to have a skill set. You need, above all things, you need to communicate well. You need to show your company that you are there. That's very, very important because you are away from your team. So if they don't know you're there, you cannot help them, they cannot help you, okay? Yeah, I was really going to remove this. Okay, yeah, so Keanu lands his new remote job and is very happy, but a few weeks down the road, he starts feeling really, really unproductive. And when people working remotely usually feel unproductive, it's because of lack of routine. So lack of routine is very, very common when you start working remotely. Because people think, yeah, I can work in my pajamas, I can work whenever I want, I can work at night. Don't think about that, okay? It's very common people stay in their pajamas, skipping meals, not having a proper lunch, they don't go outside, they don't work out, they just take tons of breaks and watch TV, and that doesn't work. You need a routine because you are working alone, okay? So start by creating a routine. First of all, don't work at night because people you know, they work during the day, right? So if you work at night, you will be utterly alone because your friends are going to go out at night or having beers, and you'll be alone at home at night. And during the day, you'll also be alone because your friends will be working, and that sucks. Also, very important, try to hardwire your brain like if you were in a co-located job. Why? Because we all have years of experience of co-located jobs. We all wake up, dress up, have a proper breakfast, and head to the office. And if you do this while you work remotely, your brain will get in the zone to start working. And when I mean go into the office, I mean get a freaking office. And by office, I mean something else other than your living room, your kitchen, or your bedroom. Because if you work from your bedroom, when you go into the actual bedroom to rest, your brain won't be resting because it will be focused on at work, okay? I have this thing that I have an office space at home. It's a room, and I only go into that room when I'm working. I don't enter that room after 5 p.m. I don't enter that room on weekends. If I left my cell phone there on a Friday afternoon, I would leave it there for the whole weekend. That's how serious I am. Yeah, this other stuff is important as well. So because it's very easy to skip meals while you are working alone. Because if you were working with colleagues, it's lunchtime, everybody goes to lunch. It's important to, if you have a list of meals for the whole week, this is just simple stuff you can do. So yeah, I mean, Keanu likes his new routine and all, and he's very happy. He's starting to feel a bit more productive, but he's having a hard time communicating, and that's because that brings us to point number 2, which is lack of communication. And lack of communication is one of the most serious problems you could face while working remotely, because most communication in a remote company is made by writing, because you send emails, you talk on Slack and other stuff. And writing is definitely not a good medium to create empathy, right? You can send emojis and stuff like that, but it doesn't cut it. It's not the same as being face-to-face and having a beer with people. And you may actually work on a distributed company and have the team divided across time zones. That makes it even harder. And all this remote stuff makes it very hard to keep track of where people are and what they are doing. So you need to step up your communication game. How? Say hi when you start, say goodbye when you leave. If you say hi on Slack when you start the day, if I start the day 2 hours after, I'll know you're there. I don't need to ask. I won't feel that alone because I know someone is there. Video conference when possible. This is also very important because you will put a face to the name. You will see the actual people you're working with. In my case, I'm the only remote guy on my team, and my whole team is on premise on the client in London. And what happens is I literally forced everybody to stay in their own desks and make our meetings remote. They don't go into an office anymore, because when they went into an office, they would start talking to each other, and I would be like, yeah, cool, yeah, sitting around. I couldn't talk because they wouldn't hear me. So I forced them to do our meetings on their own laptops. A bit on asynchronous communication as well, especially for distributed teams. If you work on a distributed team, it's very important to keep asynchronous, to stay asynchronous. How do you do that? When you're leaving for the day, try to give feedback to the team of what you've done, what you got left to do, because when somebody else picks up, he can read on your feedback and he knows what to do, what you have done. If you're sending an email to somebody that works 5 or 6 hours on a different time zone, try to give as much context as possible. Try to tell them everything you can. And if you think that this could go 2 or 3 other ways, try to predict that. And okay, if this happens, you can do this. If that happens, you can do that. And that will help people unblock, because if the other guy has a question, he'll have to wait for tomorrow for you to give him feedback. And that sucks. That's a lost day. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I mean, Keanu's communication skills are getting better and better, but he still has one problem left. He's feeling a bit isolated. And isolation is, for me, it's a very dear problem, because I lived in Lisbon for about 10 years, and when I came back, I mean, most of my friends were in Lisbon or were abroad, and it was hard for me. Although I've made some new friends, many of them are here today, and it's very cool. But still, I was working home. I was working alone. It's hard on the guy. And what I realized is that working from home leads to less interaction, right? Because you are alone, and less interaction usually leads to isolation, and isolation leads to worse communication skills. And what have we talked earlier? You need communication skills to do your remote work. So this is like a snowball. It will get worse and worse and worse if you don't cut. Okay, so what can you do? You can do the exact opposite of isolation. Just, just go work outside in the sun, whatever. What is this? Just go work outside. Find new friends. Get into Geek sessions. If you're not in Geek sessions, go in there and start talking with us. This is from last week. We all got together on a Friday and we went to IKEA and we just worked from there. That's awesome. That's the power of community, like Humberto was telling you about. So this really helps a lot when you work from home. Okay, it's very important. So yeah, Keanu now is really feeling like he can conquer the world, because he mastered the 3 pillars of remote work, which is routine, remote skills, and having a social life. Okay, this for me is the 3 most important things to lead a proficient and very productive remote work. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. My name is André. I'm a software engineer at YLD. Yeah.